Ethereum is about 50-something% away from its all-time high. And yet yesterday when I did a transaction, I had to pay $25 just for the transaction to go through. That's ridiculous. How is that better than banks? It is not. Problem is, all the cool assets are over there on the Ethereum blockchain, and in order to access them, you have to pay the gas fees.
If only we could somehow access the Ethereum network without having to pay Ethereum gas fees. That would be amazing.
Right? Incredible. Well, that is where LAOS comes in, the project we're gonna talk about today. This is a new Layer 1 solution which will help you access all the digital assets across all blockchains. Yeah, I know, it sounds ridiculous, but let me break it down and explain how it works. LAOS is known for bridgeless minting. Now, what even is bridge minting? Well, when you use ETH on the Ethereum blockchain, you're using the ETH coin. But if you have ETH on the Polygon blockchain, then it's an ETH token. Now, in order to get the ETH token on the Polygon network, you have to do a process called bridging. Skit. So why should I care about blockchain bridging? Let's say you want to buy the Sand token before its all-time high. Alright. But the gas fees on Ethereum are way too expensive. Alright, following so far. So what you would do is you would send your ETH from the Ethereum network to the Polygon network, so that's called bridging. And then it would use that Ethereum token on Polygon to buy sand, and you would pay fees in Matic, and it would be very cheap because you're in Polygon now. So to get rich, I should buy sand. No, man. Did you not understand anything I just said? No, I'm not saying you can get rich by buying sand. Sand being the utility token for the sandbox game, the crypto game. We talk about it on the channel all the time. Great game. I'm not saying you can get rich by buying sand. Example. Now, what LAOS will allow us to do is to mint assets on all chains, so seamless integration with all EVM chains. So in other words, to mint assets on Ethereum or on Polygon without paying gas fees for that chain, but paying gas fees directly to LAOS, which are extremely cheap. They're going for over 1 million transactions per second. Compare that to Ethereum, which does about 20 transactions per second, the blockchain can get easily congested. You scale that to 1 million transactions per second, it's very hard to get it congested, and it's very easy to keep the fees low. In comparison, Bitcoin does 3 to 4 transactions per second, PayPal does 193 transactions per second, Visa 1667, it's a very specific transaction per second number, but it's nowhere close to 1 million per second. I hear you asking, all of that sounds great, but how do I benefit from it? Well, let me put it in terms that you guys watching this channel can understand. We talk about crypto games all the time, so let's get into gaming and let's see how this will be awesome for gaming, for crypto gaming and play to earn. This is just an example they made, so it's a section on the website called Need Some Inspiration, and here's the inspiration that they gave to the people and how the people can actually use LAOS. So cross-game interoperability, meaning we have one original asset, which is a sword, type common, and then it has some attributes. Now we can transfer that sword, now we buy that sword, and then we use it in an RPG game. In the RPG game, that same NFT asset is a fire sword with 20 damage. In a trading card game like Gods Unchained, it can be a legendary blade. In a sandbox game like the Sandbox, it can be just a common steel sword that I can use as my weapon. Sounds great on paper. You buy one NFT, use it across games. Cross-game interoperability. I really do think that there's something there that can be considered the future of crypto gaming. So the game adapts visual styles of these assets to match its own look and feel, and it assigns attributes to them that evolve during gameplay. Assets can be imported automatically or one by one via paid upgrades. There's a couple other examples they gave here, like IP copyright infringement claims, revival of existing collections, because when it comes to LAOS, the same Web3 address used by the original creator of the NFT collection is used to extend each asset's metadata to create a sponsored seasonal campaign, and so you can take Bored Ape Yacht Club and create a new variation of it with the same address. Why is that big? Well, it'll allow us to upgrade our in-game NFTs for gaming. I'm always looking at it from a gaming perspective, so I can have my NFT sword, using it across 3 different games, and then I can also upgrade it directly on the blockchain. I can have it on Ethereum, but paying the fees on LAOS, and I use it across all games on different chains. Crazy when you say it like that, and I would love to use this in games, and I can't wait to do that. Now, in order to pay fees on LAOS, obviously, you need to use their utility token. The utility token is called LAOS, obviously. But what's the token used for? Well, they have something called usage, which is basically to execute execute transaction, both in ownership and across the LAOS relay chain. Now, in order to not really get into details on how LAOS works behind the scenes, they utilize something in the Polygon network that allows them to seamlessly communicate with different blockchains and access specific NFTs on the Ethereum network, on the Polygon network, on Solana, on the Binance Smart Chain, doesn't matter. It's across all blockchains. Now, they also have a staking mechanism. You can stake your LAOS to get token rewards, and then also obviously governance, as in any stakeholder in possession of LAOS can participate in the network governance. Now, here we go to the token distribution. Let's see where the LAOS token goes and what its potential is. So we got 22% to the core team, 20% investors, 23% for the community and treasury, and then 35% for community incentives and distribution. So I would imagine some sort of benefits will go to the early adopters and to the early community and early supporters. The biggest part will go to that, but then we also have 20% investors and 22% core team. Those are not necessarily numbers people like to see, but if we go more in depth into it, we can see their vesting periods, meaning that the first 12 months, the core team cannot access their funds and neither can the investors, while the other two for the foundation, the treasury, and the community incentives, they're unlocked right away. Total lockup for core team and investors is 4 and 3 years respectively. And so now that we looked at the token, let's go a bit backwards and check out layer 2s. Yes, layer 2s, because LAOS is a layer 1, so it's different. So for layer 2s, we have Arbitrum, Optimism, Immutable X, we have Polygon. Layer 2s of Ethereum all have over $1 billion market cap, and they all help Ethereum scale and help take the load off Ethereum because it's just so overused, and with 20 transactions per second, Ethereum cannot keep up and the gas fees are through the roof. LAOS, with the bridgeless minting, will help everyone scale equally. It'll help Ethereum, it'll also help the layer 2s, but most importantly, it'll also help us because it's going to make everything so much easier. All of these layer 2s combined can still do less transactions per second than LAOS. LAOS does more transactions per second than all these layer 2s combined, and it doesn't require any bridging. I don't know if there's any need for me to keep mentioning this, but it's just so amazing that users can keep using Ethereum, Matic, as usual, with no bridging whatsoever required, whereas if you use any of these layer 2s, you do have to bridge your assets if you want to keep using Ethereum. Now, the gaming part is a small part of what LAOS will be able to do. The potential is immeasurable, and really the only limit is people's imagination and how far they will take this. Another big problem with bridging is hacks. There will be no hacks if there's no bridging. So another problem solved right there. So apart from gaming, apart from NFT collections, how can we benefit in the real world? Well, they did give an example of permissionless updates in real world assets. So an on-chain invoice can be updated by the recipient to indicate that it has been paid. Then a user can be updated to indicate an achievement. That might sound like complicated words, so let me dumb it down a little. Market value of a house is $7 million. Reputable property advisor says it is 7.5. Price updates to 7.5. Very simple. Goods can go through a logistics auditor and then can be updated on the blockchain when they have arrived, which port they have arrived to, and their status. So if it's in delivery, they can update it real time, if it's still being delivered, if it's there, if that's the final destination. So that will be amazing if you use it, for example, for food. Let's say one day I go to the supermarket and I want to buy some bread. I have a QR code in the back, I scan it, and it leads me to one of these blockchains where I can see where the wheat was made, where it was shipped from, where did it come, if the workers that made this aren't being abused, if they have regular wages. So things like that will be game changing, and I am all for it. So many different examples of how LAOS can be used in the real world. Of course, us here on the Mindblow Show, we're the most excited about the game integrations and the cross-game interoperability, but obviously everything here is amazing, and these are just some examples that the developers, or rather the LAOS team, has left here. Now, this is very new. They're auctioning and launching on Polkadot in Q1, early Q2 of this year, so all of this is yet to come, and it does sound amazing, doesn't it? So we're rooting for LAOS. We have their Zeely link here where you can claim some rewards, join the network, join the community. We'll leave the links in the description down below. And also their Twitter page has only 2,000 followers, so it is very new. I suggest you go and follow them and look for updates, as this is something that can really be big in our little blockchain space, or at some point maybe even the world stage, so then it's not little anymore. Let's see where it goes. I'm excited to follow this. LAOS, thank you so much for sponsoring this video. We of course appreciate it. Projects like this allow us to keep the channel going forward, and I'm privileged to be able to cover projects like this that are the future of the blockchain technology, in my opinion. That's it. Thanks for watching. I'm leaving.